Can't be bothered about 911s. Now don't get me wrong, they're objectively very good cars. Brilliant engineering, perfect balance, all that stuff that nerds love to talk about. But here's the thing, my biggest problem with them is their face. I just don't like it. That's it. That's the whole problem. Because if a car doesn't make you turn around for one last look as you walk away, then really, what's the point? If I have to drive a supercar just to feel something, then it's already failed. Because a proper supercar should make your knees go weak just by existing. It's like dating a supermodel. You're not there for the conversation, are you? You just want to look at it while it just sits there in the driveway. But 911s, they are no supermodels. They are accountants in gym clothes. And yes, they are very good at running. But honestly, I don't care how fast an accountant can run. However, even as a self-confessed hater, I have to admit, there have been a few over the years that's been nothing short of outstanding. The whole package, the engineering, the story, the accomplishments, not just the looks, but what each one represents. And for that, they've earned my absolute respect. I could easily take one of these over an Aventador. And as a die-hard Lamborghini man, well, that's borderline insanity. But the truth is, you can't hate greatness. So here they are, my top 5 911s I'd possibly choose over an Aventador. Firstly, the Singer Porsche DLS. This is not just a Porsche 911. It's a Singer. Now, I generally don't like 911 because of their looks, but this, for some reason, just appeals to my aesthetics. The Singer, in a lot of ways, is a subtext of my personality. I don't like to be loud and brazen because I don't want to attract attention by the image I convey. It's the same thing with cars I like. Even as a die-hard Lambo guy, I don't want to turn heads because I'm driving a flashy Lamborghini. Like, my dream car is a dark-colored 2004 Gallardo, just because it is cool but understated. I want people to see it and go, wow, that's a beautiful piece of art. Let's find out what's the story behind it. This Singer does exactly that. If there's ever a museum for the most beautiful cars ever made, this should be in there. It's actually based on a 1990 Porsche 964 Turbo, and it cost $3.4 million. Yes, $3.4 million. So you write Singer, the company that makes this car, a check for $3.4 million. They find an old Porsche 964, strip everything off it except the shell, and rebuild it with Renaissance era passion into this, a parts car, parts art, total perfection. My lifelong dream has always been to own a Lamborghini Gallardo. I'm not really into hypercars, but if I ever become a multimillionaire, I'm buying this in addition. Not a Bugatti, not a Koenigsegg. This, because while those cars chase speed and numbers, this one gives me something they can't. Feelings. I mean, I've not even seen this car in person yet. I've never driven it. Just by looking at it, I feel it will be something I'd really like. It might not be the fastest thing on the road, but it doesn't need to be. The thrill of simply sitting behind the wheel, listening to that air-cooled symphony and seeing that view over the bonnet, is something to make every other hypercar feel soulless. So yes, I'll say it. I'll take this over an Aventador because sometimes beauty is performance. Now, speaking of performance, who let the dogs out? Roof, ha ha! This is a Roof CTR, particularly the 1987 Roof CTR, aka Yellow Band. It's basically the same recipe as the Singer DLS. Both are based on the Porsche 964. But whilst the Singer DLS is built as more of a Grand Tourer, this was built on performance. Yes, it isn't exactly an eye candy compared to the DLS, but boy, is it legit. I fell in love with this car because it was featured in the Gran Turismo video game I used to play on my PlayStation. I didn't know what it was back then. It didn't look very nice, but it was the most rewarding car when you got good at the game. Years later, I discovered the Sports Car magazine had held a speed test where they compared it with the latest modern supercars in that era, the 90s, and blew all of them away. This cemented my admiration for the CTR. There's a video of it being manhandled around the Nürburgring by a German bloke, fighting with the car to its limits, like a Porsche 911 should be driven. The most impressive thing I've ever seen. I'm more of a Grand Tour guy when it comes to my preference for cars and driving, but if I ever need to get a car solely for its track performance, pounds, this 911 will be on top of the list. Even as a finished product from Porsche in the form of a 964 Carrera, in the hands of Roof Automotive, it was basically a rough diamond that needed polishing still. As a car nerd, what Roof was able to accomplish with this 911 that had it beating V12 Lambos and Ferraris in the 90s makes this car simply an all-timer. Speaking of all-timers, another Porsche I greatly admire is the Porsche 959. When it comes to modern 911s, this is the genesis of it. Every 911 today is a derivative of this. Yes, I know you nerds will say this isn't a 911, but it is. Let me explain. Towards the end of the 70s, the 911 was scheduled to be removed from the Porsche lineup and replaced by the 928 because the executives at Porsche thought it was too expensive, too tricky to drive, and outdated. Yes, outdated. But then came a new CEO, Peter Schultz. He decided that the 911 was too iconic to let die. He felt it could be even better. So he commissioned the company to build a car that will be the ultimate version of 911s and inspire the next generation of 911s. This gave birth to the 959. It was the fastest car in the world with a top speed of 196 miles per hour when it was first released. Back then, when most cars were analog, it was by far the most technologically advanced car in the world. The complexity of this car was out of the world for when it was first released. It took 2 years to develop, from when the concept was revealed to when development was finally done. It was a proper project. No wonder it attracted nerds like Bill Gates, who owned one. Actually, Bill Gates was one of the very few people who could have afforded to pay the proper price for one of these, because in 1986, Porsche sold this for $170,000, which is equivalent of about $500,000 today. Later, the executives revealed that it actually cost them $370,000 to build. Adjusted for inflation, that's more than $1 million. It was so advanced. It wasn't just a car, it was a spaceship. Will I choose it over an Aventador? No. It's a bit like my college professors. I respect them a lot. But will I want to be friends with them? Nah. I admire this car for what it is. If this car wasn't built, 911s probably wouldn't exist today. This was the ultimate 911. Speaking of ultimate 911s, first of all, before I even say anything, yes, absolutely yes, I'm going to choose this car over an Aventador. This is the Porsche 911 992 GT3 RS. This, by the way, is the only 911 I can correctly identify just by the looks. I think it's the best looking 911 ever. For some reason, they've got it right. I mean, comparing this to other GT3s in the past, this looks like a different car altogether. For some reason, I just like the aesthetics of it. The front end, the dimples in the hood, the massive spoiler. This just works. As a 911 hit, I can't believe I'm gushing over this thing. Who would have thought I would finally like a 911? 911s are typically a car admired by enthusiasts who care more about the nerdy stuff. No wonder they never really bothered about the looks of it. But it's no coincidence this car is popular on social media, and now almost everyone wants one. It's absolutely gorgeous. It costs about 250k MSRP, but thanks to dealerships and posers jumping on it just to make a profit, you'll be lucky to get a used one for under 400k. I think Porsche have gone greedy too. In order to get an allocation for this, they require you to buy the less interesting models just to qualify for this. A bit like what Ferrari does. And just like that, 911s are no longer for enthusiasts. But that's the price to pay for building an aesthetically good looking car. You go from a nerdy girl that everybody respects to the hot girl that everyone wants to date. So here we are, the top 911s I admire the most. Now to the big question. Which one of these will I choose if I could own one 911 forever? Before that, let me know in the comments what your favorite 911 is. Well, for me, since I'm more of a Grand Tour guy, the Roof CTR and the 959 doesn't appeal to me that much as the Singer and the 992 GT3 RS. And between these two, since I'm more of a loose guy, I'm going to go for the Singer. Yes, over the GT3 RS, because I think the Singer looks better, less aggressive and more understated. It fits the criteria of a Grand Tourer. Thanks so much for watching.